All right, welcome back to another video on the channel. Right here, we're going to talk more about the week and how we're going to approach our trades, what entry we're going to take, and already trades we're already currently in as far as swing trades like this right here on Euro CAD. If you can see this entry right here, you can simply understand how we're still in this trade from November 28th, November 29th, all the way to now. This is one of the better things, as I say all the time, right? If you know how to simply hold on to your entries, know how to control your emotions, you can make a lot of profit. Any given time I'm into a trade, I can simply understand it can only go up, it can only go down, right? Price action can only go one or the other way. So if it doesn't come to your stop loss, you simply got to sit back and allow the trade to make the profit and to do all the work for you, right? Just simply knowing how to sit on your hands. I also have a lot of rules and guidelines in place to understand why I want to hold on to a trade. And we talked about this before, right? Simply seeing levels keep on breaking above, still pulling back, right? I can hold on to my entry. Seeing this on the 4 hour, I can see this right here was my pass. This right here was my pass. Breakout, pullback. I know it continue to go to the top side to keep on making more profit. So always looking at the trades are very, very simple to make the profit if you know how to compose yourself to keep on making the money. So we're still holding on to EuroCAD, still making all this profit, and it's still going to the top side, even going into mid-December. Like I said before, this is one of the perfect things about being a trader. Price action can only go up, it can only go down. So you have a 50 and 50% chance of being correct right off the bat, right? I say this all the time to many of my students. If you didn't know anything about the market at all, and somebody came to you and gave you a buy and sell button and said hit either one, you could make profit, you have a 50% chance of getting that trade correct, because all you can do is buy and all you can do is sell. The market can only go up, it can only go down. So understanding, guys, right? Control your emotions. Develop the habits to understand why you want to enter and why you want to exit, why you want to hold on longer. And simply taking partial profit is also a good thing. You can always take partial profit when things are going this well in the market. From our entry all the way to the top side, it's over 490 pips, right? Almost 500 pips. And it did touch about 506 before pulling back down where it's at right now. But either case, right, that's a lot of profit. Crazy amount of profit, right? It's crazy, right? With a 1.00, that's $4,000 right there, right? With anything bigger than that for you, any lot size bigger than a 1.00, a standard lot size, you can do the math, right? It's a lot of money, man. In a very simple, short amount of time, you can really just know how to sit back and let that trade make the money for you. Going on to our next pair, let's look at Euro NZD. This is a pair that I did go for the sell in the previous week, and I did make some good profit off of it. This right here, Euro NZD, is a very great structural pair, right? This pair simply breaks out, pullback, goes to the top side, or in this case, right, breakout, pullback, breakout, pullback, breakout, pullback, right, and going to the downside. And that's how I found my sell right here. I saw this as the pass, right? So I knew that price action broke out and pulled back. I looked for rejection and I got into my sell to the downside. But since then, it has pulled back near my entry. So the thing about this right here is I can look to my past and see this right here. I can look to my past and see this right here. And I understand why it's rejecting that same level, because that's the same level as the pass right here, where price action broke above, it pulled back, right? Broke above, it pulled back and it continued to the top side. So same thing for this right here. If it comes below here and pulls back, I can look for my sell to continue to the top side. If it breaks back above here and pulls back, right, thus breaking out of that downtrend, then I know it's going to continue to go back to the top side, right? So this key level here around 165.87 on Euro NZD is my key breaking point. If price action breaks above that level and then pulls back to the same level, I'm going to go for the buy and close out my sell. But if it continues to the downside, breaking out below that key level of support and then pulling back, becoming a new level of resistance, I will continue my sell to the downside and keep on making that profit. So let's go on to the next pair as well. This right here was Euro NZD. Let's look at Euro USD as well. Kind of this right here is a key pair that a lot of people watch, right? And as you can see, what I'm looking for on this pair, breakout, pullback, simple price action, continue to the top side, right? This is the only thing you can really expect on Euro USD to find another entry. If it breaks above this level and then simply pulls back to that same level, you can continue to look for their buy, right? And always I say this, right? If you are trading Euro USD, British Pound USD, pretty much with anything with USD in it, you have to look at the DXY. And we've been tracking that for a long time now, right? So we can go look at the DXY to see what's going on real quickly. And the key thing about the DXY, we look at the weekly and daily because we want to see the overall strength and weakness of it. So the same thing we've been saying for a while now has been happening, right? So we have been correct, right? We first said it can break below this level, pull back, and then continue to the downside. And the same thing is going on right now. Now that we see price action is below this level, right? This key red bar here, that bearish bar was the breakout. And now we're seeing the pullback rejection to the opposite level, right? Now it's a resistance, right? It was support, right? Now it's a resistance. So if it stays below this level around 105.29, right? Around that level, if it stays below that level, it can continue to the downside and keep on pushing down. Thus, if we go back to Euro USD, like we said, right? If we see that breakout, if we see that pullback, it can continue to go back to the top side, right? So if the DXY is going down, Euro is going to go up, it's going to pull back, look for an entry right here, and boom, keep on making that profit to the top side if this level is broken out of. If the DXY decides to gain strength, right, now, right, we can go back and look at it, and we can say to ourselves, if it decides, right, to go up in currency value, then it's still very simple, right? If the DXY decides to break above and pull back and above and pull back and keep on going up, well, then we go back to Euro USD and we simply say, right, it can fall down. The DXY, if it's going to go up, that means Euro is going to continue to the downside. So it's either or. Trading is very simple if you can trade it like that, right? If it falls down, pulls back, is going to reject here and boom, go to the downside. If it breaks above, pulls back, is going to reject here and go to the top side. It's always just that simple. And the same thing goes for British Pound USD, right? If you're looking at British Pound USD, and we have been trading this, right? If you're seeing it here on this pair, we have been buying this British Pound USD, and it had been making us very decent profit. But it's the same thing goes for this, right? The same thing for Euro USD goes for British Pound USD. If it continues to break above, right, we can come here, draw a trend line like that, and say to ourselves, if it breaks out same exact way on Euro USD and pulls back, that's going to be your buy, right? If it breaks back below and pulls back, that's going to be your sell, right? If it breaks back below this key level right around here, breakout, pullback above the resistance, that's your buy. Breakout, pullback below the support, that's your sell. So it's easy trading anything like that by just understanding the strength and weakness of the DXY, you're going to make a lot of profit, right? Simply looking for a breakout on the higher time frame, that being the 8-hour, 4-hour, 3-hour, things like that for a day trade, and then also understanding how to hold on to your trade. Let's also look at British pound USD, right? We're looking at British pound USD. This has been a very great entry for us, still making us even more profit, right? Still going to the top side, still making even more profit on the upside. This right here been a beautiful trade if anybody been trading this, but it still goes back to that key reason. You got to understand how to hold out your emotion. If you know how to hold out your emotions and simply not touch your trade, you are able to make a lot of profit. Same thing here, right? Breakout, pullback, morning star, that's your entry. Stop loss below the level, make your profit. You do not have to touch your trade, right? You got to understand that if it doesn't come to your stop loss, simply do not touch your trade. You are perfectly fine. Your stop loss is in place to protect yourself because you understand that you know exactly how much you're risking. If you lose that trade, you should know exactly how much you're risking on that trade. So thus, you should be perfectly fine, right? It's just that easy. You simply do not have to overthink it whatsoever, guys, right? If it does not come to your stop loss, do not touch your trade. And a lot of the times, you would develop rules and guidelines that can be in place to protect yourself from yourself. You say, okay, I see a morning star here, right? You go over the buy, but then another morning star appears right here. That can give you more evidence that price action is going to continue to the top side. So reading price action, having rules and guidelines in place to protect yourself from yourself is a very great thing because we are all human and we simply make mistakes or we have emotions, right? We get anxious, we get anxiety and things like that that force us to trade against ourselves and make us lose profit when we know we're correct on a trade. So sit back, right? Break out, pull back price action, whether you're going for a buy or going for a sell, and make that simple, clean money. Always remember, price action can only go up, it can only go down. You have a strong possibility by just even knowing this very basic stuff and knowing what to look for. We can even look here, right? Breakout, pullback, it melted, right? Over here, breakout, pullback, it went to the top side. So we saw the same thing as we saw in the past. It broke out, it pulled back, it made price action. We went for a buy, stop loss below the level, TP1, and then we have TP2. It's just that easy. Nothing else matters, right? When it broke above this level here, we thus knew that we could stay into the trade longer. And that's what I mean by guidelines and things you will develop in time, the more experience you get with this, right? As far as breakout and pullback comes back to the same level, that's your entry, right? Or the same thing here, breakout, pullback, come back to the same level, that's your entry. You could have entered here or even enter here when you saw the next breakout. So price action is doing very, very well. Another key thing, a few currency pairs I'm looking at is NZD pairs, right? NZD pairs are looking very well. If we're looking at here on the 8-hour and the daily on NZD JPY, we can see a reversal did happen here before. So this is why I'm looking at this level. You can see how this is in the past right here when price action melted all the way to the downside. We are now right back at that same exact level. So if price action comes here and rejects the same way, we could get it for a sell here or look for a sell here on the breakout and pullback to this next level and look for price action to continue to the downside. Because we see that in the past, right? So if price action decides to reject here with an evening star or a bearish engulfing or any kind of price action bearish pattern, we can look for a sell and continue to the downside. I'm looking at the 8-hour and the daily on this as well as the 4-hour. We can come here and see this, right? You see, this is that strong past level where it made a evening star, and that's what I mean. And we can see a rejection like that. We can look for a sell here or wait for the breakout and pullback and look for a sell here when it breaks right back below this key level of resistance and support. So that right there is what I'm looking for, NZD JPY, and what I'm waiting for. And then we have NZD USD, which is kind of the same exact thing, right? We're looking at the higher time frame. Excuse me one second. Look at the higher time frame. We can see a lot of strong rejection that happened in the opposite level in the past right here. You see, this is the past, and now we're right back at that same level. So same thing goes for this for me, right? If it comes here and rejects and decides to pull back here, I'm going to see it continue to the downside. Or if it decides to pull back down and continue up, right, and break above this key level, break above this key level, I'm going to go for my buy just like that and see if the DXY will continue to the downside, right? If the DXY continue to the downside, NZD USD will be the same thing as Euro USD, the same thing as British Pound USD, the same thing we discussed on the other currency pairs. So we're seeing that on the higher time frame, that being the 8 to 4, right? The daily, the 8 and the 4 hour, and looking for those strong possibilities to find that day trade. So breakout pullback is what I'm looking for on them given setups. That's all we see, right? We can see here, breakout, pullback, rejection, the same thing as a pass, that was a buy. Breakout, pullback, rejection, that was the buy. So you're still looking at everything in the past and confirming to your future. If we're looking at NZD CAD, it's the same exact thing, right? We have a strong past level of rejection, right? Look at that beautiful past level and this right here. So we're looking for our future, same exact thing. We can look for rejection here and go for a sell just like that, boom. Or if it breaks above the strong level, we're going to continue to see go to the top side to make that buy. So these pairs right here are pretty much perfect. I'm really looking at a lot of NZD pairs this week to keep on making even more profit. So seeing this right here, same exact thing. If it pulls back here, we might see it go to the top side. If it breaks below this level here, we're going to see it go to the downside. So same exact thing across all the NZD pairs. We're really looking at it to fall down or rise, given or take if any one of these levels are going to be broken. But we are seeing very strong sell rejection at the reversal level, especially on NZD JPY. So this right here is one of the pairs I'm definitely looking for to see if that reversal can take place. Because if it does, you can measure from here all the way to the downside is almost 700 pips. Now, we're not saying that that huge reversal could happen again, but it is a possibility, right? If it's here, it can come all the way down here to keep on making you more profit. So this right here is what I'm watching for the week, guys. I am watching a few other pairs like British Pound Odd and things like that as far as breakout pullback strategy, very simple stuff, but not really overdoing it. All you really have to do is find one or two great pairs to trade for the week and make all your profit off of them. It really makes you a lot of money while also controlling your emotion. So I see you in the next video, guys. Hope everybody had a great trading week. I'll see you back here tomorrow. See you later, guys.